into another NBA playoff episode with the OG crew. We missed Monday, and that was my fault. I'll take responsibility for that. But we've been doing really well on the show. We did have one losing week or one losing show as far as the best bets. But other than that, we've been fired. We only have one game going tomorrow, so this show should be quick and sweet. But Dutch, how's NBA been treating you? How you doing today?
I'm doing lovely today, but the NBA, man, shit has been beating me the fuck around like a redheaded stepchild, boy. I've been getting smacked. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't even touch the game the other night. Last night, excuse me. I felt like how do you not take Miami +8? But I felt like I feel like Boston kind of took the momentum back. I said, man, let me just sit back, and Boston did their thing, man. So tough series. I'm be completely honest with you, and I know y'all motherfuckers probably don't even want to talk about it, but I'm still kind of shocked LBJ got swept. I'm still kind of in that realm. Did I expect the Boston Celtics to lose game 2? Absolutely not. Did I lose a significant amount of money? I did. I lost even more on game 3 and game 4 to LA Lakers. Not as much on game 4. A lot on game 3, and I did on game 4 as well. But I just stopped, man. I saved a little bit of money, I think, on game 4 with LBJ over 24.5 points. He had 21 at the end of one. Motherfucker dropped the 40 piece, but they forgot to get the W. Did not see that coming. Still kind of just like, damn, bro, LBJ got swept. Like, pretty shocking to me. So, man, haven't seen the board too clearly since then. I jumped on Miami. I thought it was going to be a clean sweep of the series, boys. I'm not going to lie. I thought Miami was going to handle business in game 4. Obviously, they got punked. And then it happened last night. I mean, shit. Miami shot 51% from they shot 50% from the field, damn near 40% from 3, and the game wasn't close. I mean, Mr. Jimmy Buckets, I don't know. Maybe the juice is worn off. He might need to hit the cycle or whatever he's doing, because his ass looked tired last night. Did not look like the Jimmy Buckets who busted Drew Holiday's ass and busted these boys here through the first 3 games. Gabe Vincent, I believe our guy Bobano touched a little more on that. We kind of knocked him up and down throughout the NBA Pub, but he's had one hell of a series and playoffs, and I believe they are missing him. And then also, got to give big shots out to Mike Malone, Joker, and the boys. Murray played out of his fucking mind. I do believe it's mile motherfucking high eventually. But let's see. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see what you fellows have to say about Game 6. Is it going to be MIA, or is the Leprechauns taking it back to Beantown for Game 7, which would be very appealing to me as a fan, Game 7. But, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I'm ready for the NBA Finals to get here so I can hit the refresh button and start winning some motherfucking money again, goddammit.
Hey, I hear you on that. I was surprised, too, that the Lakers and LeBron got swept. I did not see that coming. Maybe Babano did, because he was liking those Denver Nuggets. So, how's the NBA been treating you? You like what you've been seeing?
Well, I wish that series was still going, because that series was really good. The only misstep I made was taking the Lakers in Game 3, simply because I thought that was their game to win, and they still didn't win it. And they actually played really bad in Game 3. Like, they were trailing much of that game. It was not good at all for a team down 2-0 at home in that series. And look, Game 4, LeBron was, his effort was commendable, 40 points. What more can you ask for from him? But at the end of the day, just bad defense at the end, couldn't get stops when they needed it. Denver made the big shots down the stretch and put that game series away in 4 straight. And I actually took Denver in Game 4 because I thought the Lakers blew their chance in Game 3, and Denver would finish it off. And I just went for the straight money line in that Game 4 with Denver, and they ended up getting the job done, plus 145. So that was good. Unfortunately, since then, the betting board's not been as well for me here. It's actually Game 5, I think, or Game 4 it was, with Boston and Miami in that game, 116-99. That one ended up being disappointing because I think I had the first half and the full game over split. We cashed the first half over, but it just died in the second half, and Boston ran away in the second half and won that game. And I was on Miami to close it out, and I took Miami plus the points in Game 5 back in Boston last night, even with my concerns that Gabe Vincent being out would be a big deal, and it was a big deal. You look at that team offensively, they missed a guy that's been scoring 20-plus points and shooting the 3 ball extremely well, a plus defender as well for the Miami Heat. He obviously didn't play due to injury. And unfortunately, last night, you see the result. The Heat end up only going 9 for 23, 39% from 3. Butler with 14 points. Strus had a rough night shooting the basketball. That can't happen when you're already without. Gabe Vincent. I think Martin and Robinson played okay offensively. They gave him some points, but at the end of the day, and Miami's defense was awful. I mean, and Boston was making threes. And when Boston hits threes like they did last night, and when they're getting Marcus Smart, doing what he's doing with 23 points, and he's making threes. And Derek White went nuts with a
Derek
huge.
White went crazy, yeah.
He was great. Tatum had a solid night, but it was more so Smart went off. Derek White went off. Jaylen Brown finally started making some threes. He has been awful shooting the three this series, but he finally made a few last night. And when that happens and you've got three different Celtics, it's getting 20-plus points last night, Tatum, Brown, White, Smart, you're not beating them when that happens. You're just not. I don't care what kind of defense you play. So that's why Miami got into trouble. And without Vincent, their offense suffered. That's why they had a blowout loss last night in that game. That being said, if you had the guts to take Spoelstra and the Heat second half, you cashed again, barely, because it was plus 15.5 with the live betting line at halftime. But that's now 171 against the spread in his career in the second half for Eric Spoelstra in the playoffs. So, not pretty, but it still cashed that angle last night. But Miami's going to have to be a whole lot better, and we'll get into the game more in a second. But it feels like they're game 7 tomorrow night, and if they don't win that game tomorrow night, they're asking for trouble and maybe being on the wrong side of history.
Yeah, we'll get into that very shortly. But nice call on Denver, Babano, and we'll get back to making some more money very soon. Wham bam. They saying, is it LeBron? Is it LeBroom? We didn't get to come on and show face, I guess, after the Lakers lost, so they're gonna still throw them punches. But how's the NBA been treating you? How you doing today?
Yeah, you know what? The NBA was, like you guys said, it's been a little bit rocky lately. But we ready to get right back on the track with everything. It's all good. But like my boy Reed said, LeBroom is crazy. That's funny as hell. I definitely knew we was gonna lose that game, like Babeno was saying. I just didn't have the guts to bet Denver on the money line because that's the way I was feeling as well. So I think if we did do a show, I probably would end up betting here in Babeno the way everything's going right now. But for the most part, though, I'll say this though. I'll say this as far as the this series. I mean, you guys said it, man. I mean, last game you get production out of Duncan Robinson being the leading scorer, bro. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. And then you think about Jimmy Butler. He getting 5 for 10 on the game that you kind of want to get. A game that you want to lock down. That's not a good sign. Or it's one of those signs that we've seen it from them guys that they ain't really trying to win this game. You know what I mean? They trying to take this shit back to Miami and maybe take care of everything right there. Light from the broom, light the broom from Boofer says it's funny. That's funny, bro. But yeah, man, 40% from 3 for both teams in the last game. And did it go over? I don't think it went over, right? It didn't go over. It still went under in that game. So I think I like that trend to possibly carry over into this game, especially with the great production from Derek White, Duncan Robinson, players like that. So can't wait to talk to that about with you guys. And yeah, man, can't wait to get back to the saddle and get to this winning, man, because definitely haven't been winning lately.
Let's get to it. Let's get straight to it, man. We got one game. Celtics at Miami Heat. This one opened up Celtics -3. We now see 2.5s pretty much everywhere. Total open 212.5. And it continues to drop all day long. I'm seeing it as low as 210 right now at Circus. So depending on what you like, make sure you line shop. Let me see here. I'm gonna go to Babano here just because I want to see if he's gonna be on the same page. What Wayne was talking about there, they played that last game. Both teams shot above or around 50% from the field. Both teams shot close to 40% from 3. The game didn't even make it to 210. Is it going to make it to 210 in this one, or are you looking more towards the side in this one, Babano?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see. Well, first of all, I can tell you what, Miami's not pushing the pace like they did earlier in the series, and Boston still does play with some tempo. But what I'm finding is there's a lot more deliberation with these teams, in terms of finding the better shot and not settling for a quick shot and a rushed shot that's going to fuel the transition of the other team. And I think that's kind of goes hand in hand with the fact this series is getting more closer to the end. And now every possession is magnified now as this series goes on. So I think from a pace standpoint, it's slowing down a bit. That's a problem. Great point by Rance. I didn't mention that in the recap, but I was so disappointed with Kyle Lowry last night. Okay, this is a guy that's played very well in a leading that second unit, leading that bench unit for Miami, point guard off the bench. He's played great in that role. Terrific when he's been in that spot. But they had to ask him to go on the game, to be in the game to start it with Vincent out. Ask for more minutes of him, and he just couldn't get it done. He just couldn't. He couldn't make shots. He was turning the ball over way more than Kyle Lowry normally does. That was very disappointing. It was more that. I don't care that he didn't make shots. Sometimes he has games like that. We saw in Toronto, he'd have terrible shooting nights, but he'd do all the other things. He'd facilitate, he'd pass, he'd take charges, he'd do all that shit. He didn't do much of it last night. It was very disappointing what we saw from Kyle Lowry. An opportunity for him to step up. I know some people on Twitter were saying Kyle Lowry legacy game tomorrow. Nothing close to that from number 7 last night for the Miami Heat. So that was disappointing to see that. As far as this game goes, I definitely lean under. I'll keep it brief here. I mean, I think that the total's moving in the right way. The defense is becoming more important in this series, and the closer we get, and Game 7s, as you know, in the NBA playoffs, if we get there, what are we talking about? 60%, close to that with unders long term in the last 20 years. I mean, it's just been under palooza. So I'm not in a rush to bet overs right now in this series, but I am going to take a shot and believe that this is the spot for Miami to close this thing up finally and win. I'm not selling Miami out yet that they are going to, cough this one up and lose. Vincent's status is important because, as we saw, the offense wasn't nearly as good. But at the same time, I talked about how Strus had a bad game last night, and that really hurt. You really trust him to have a bad game now back on the home floor, where, as we say, a lot of the supporting cast and a lot of the perimeter shooters play better, shoot better at home on the home floor. I would expect Strus to be better. Caleb Martin, you can't ask for much more from him. He had another good game. He'll probably be good once again. I've been so impressed with his game in this series, Caleb Martin for the Heat. Jimmy will be better. I think that this is the game. I think Jimmy has that big game. Now, maybe he is worn out. Maybe he is just from carrying them in Milwaukee and carrying them through the last series against New York, and now this series here against Boston. Maybe he's hit the wall. Maybe the fountain of youth has no more water left in it. Who knows? And if that's the case, that's a problem for Miami tomorrow night. But I think he's got one last big game in him. I think he can prove that tomorrow night. I've got to see Boston, play the way they did. And again, when you look at Boston, they played just a penultimate good game. They got 20-plus points from Smart, from Tatum, from Brown, and from White. I mean, that's not going to happen in Miami. I'd be shocked if that happens in Miami tomorrow night. Eric Spoelstra, I know now this is 2 losses in a row for him, but in a situation where I think the team will do everything they can to avoid having to go back to Boston for Game 7. They'll make proper adjustments. They'll change the lineup maybe a little bit, give Boston a new look. That's all you got to do if you're Spo. Throw a new look out there in the starting 5, because that's going to throw this coach, Mazzulla, for a loop. And it's going to force him to have to do something about it. And as we know, that's where things can get problematic for Boston, trusting him to make the right adjustment when the other coach makes a counter move. So if I'm Spoelstra, I'm looking to shake things up a little bit and dare this young coach to outsmart me here in Game 6. So I'm going to take Miami here plus 2.5 in this. I'm already on them to win the conference and the championship, so it kind of feels ridiculous that I'm adding on and piling on with more Miami. But I want to also throw something out. There have been, I believe, there's been a bunch of teams that have been down 3-0 in an NBA series. There have been, I think, 4 teams that have gotten to 3-2 after being down 3-0. 4 teams, something like that. I saw this last night. None of those teams got to Game 7. None of them. So they 3-0 down. They won Game 4 to avoid the sweep. They won Game 5 to get to 3-2. But none of those teams won Game 6. None of them. None of them pushed the series to a Game 7 when down 3-0. So that's what Boston is trying to do. They're trying to make history tomorrow night, let alone win the series, because no team down 3-0 has even forced Game 7 here in the NBA. So I'm going to trust Miami, trust Jimmy Butler, trust Eric Spoelstra, trust the sporting cast to play better at home, and I'll roll with the Heat tomorrow night.
I like what you said about you know, throw out a new lineup out there because we all know Joe Mazzulla is not great at making adjustments, and Coach
Yeah.
Spo is. So I think that's a very good idea, and we probably will see that tomorrow. Um, Dutch, I want to come to you here, and I want to ask you: are you a believer that the Celtics can make history? Are you believing that they have their confidence back, they got their swag back, and Miami is just a little bit too banged up here? I hear a lot of people talking about it. Or are you rolling with the Heat? What you think, Dutchy?
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, Mike M in the building. Pimp slap play of the motherfucking day. Good to see you, homie. Whack Prescott, good to see you too. I need money. Some old names in the chat. Good to see y'all motherfuckers, man. Coming out. Let's get to that bread. You know, this is kind of where I'm at with this motherfucker. I just actually had to go do something important. And I go into the motherfucking office after I finally found that bitch, and the motherfucker had a Boston Celtics hat on. I said, "Oh, y'all about to do it, huh?" He said, "Huh?" I said, "Y'all about to come back?" He said, "I think so." You know, he like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about, man?" I was in there for some other shit, but and I did what I needed to do. Came out good. So honestly, I do think Boston can do it, bro. You know what I mean? Honestly, you know, at the beginning, I said this would be a series. Shout out to you with your plus money on the Heat. That was extreme value. I don't do futures. We talked about it. I should have motherfucking went to the window 3, 4, 5 fucking times with that goddamn bet before the series started. Maybe not, but I still think overall value wise, extreme value with Miami pre-series. And obviously, I still think it's hugely in their favor with this game. But if they blow this motherfucker, they go back to B-Town. I mean, come on now. We know. I mean, 53 to 9 or 12. Excuse me. What did I say? 53 to 15 bench points. They only had, Miami had 53 motherfucking bench points in Game 5. Right there in the rebounds. As I already mentioned, shot the ball pretty well from the field overall, and it really wasn't a contest. And I know you got extreme production out of Derek White and Marcus Smart. As Bobano said, 4 of the 5 starters, 20 plus points. But I don't think Jason Tatum had a good game. I mean, I guess you could say Jaylen Brown had a good game the way he's been motherfucking playing. It hasn't just been his 3-pointers, Bobano. It's been every goddamn thing with that motherfucker. He lost his game. He lost his game when this series started. I've been extremely disappointed in Jaylen Brown. And Jason Tatum obviously hasn't been his best, but he's had his moments. But we can't talk about Jaylen Brown even in the same realm of Jason Tatum the way this motherfucker's been playing. I'm just keeping it a hundo. And I'm someone who said JB might be right there with Jason. And that's a goddamn lie. It's a goddamn lie. So, are they going to show up? I hope to God they do, because I want Game 7. But I'm not betting on Boston. I think the value again at the house is Miami at the house. I think Spo will find a way to make this a game. So you're getting points at the house of Miami. I would only look that way. But as a fan, I'm gonna be real, and y'all motherfuckers can call me scary if you want. I might have to take my ass to church this weekend. But as a fan, I'll be rooting for Boston. I'll be rooting for Boston, looking for a Game 7. And if we do have a Game 7, I might even bet Boston at that point, because obviously Miami would have simply gave this motherfucker away if they go up 0-3 and it's 3-3. But one thing I will say is I can't wait till Game 1, because this series is taking so much out of both of these boys. Mile High motherfucking all the way. Game 1 in the NBA Finals.
Denver Game 1 smash spot, NBA Finals.
Yep. Exactly. Double digits, no fucking problem. Believe it. Denver Game 1 will be good money, and that's what I'm looking forward to. I do want to see a Game 7, but I'm already looking ahead. I'm thinking Game 1 Denver. I mean, both of these teams are going to be asked the fuck out, in my opinion. So, great game. As a fan, rooting for Boston. I think the value's on Miami. But yeah, man, best of luck to. I did like our guy Bobano's breakdown too. With the Spo, the factor bringing in someone new. I think it could be a good look for Miami. But I would not be shocked if they lose Game 6 at the crib. Well, I know a lot of shit, and I really gave you nothing.
No, you
it's going to be even worse for the opponent, by the way, of the Denver Nuggets. If this thing goes 7 and they have to play Monday night, Game 7, then turn around, get to the Mile High City, fly out there and start the finals on Thursday. That's a real tough turnaround if this goes 7.
Yeah, I'm hoping it does.
I agree with that. I agree with the fact that, well, Miami, I think they can win if it went to a Game 7. But this is a must-win situation. They really need to get the job done in Miami. They can't be fucking around and thinking they just still got extra time. They've already lost 2 games. They've given the Celtics a lot of confidence. They need to come in and shut them down. So I still think the Heat are going to win the series. I think it's going to be in Game 6. Wham bam. You liking the Miami side? Are you rolling with everybody? Oh wait, is it Wham Bam? Is it what was it? Wham Charles, Bartier Wham? I see a lot of names in the chat.
Hey,
What you thinking about this one?
I'm a man with many hats, man. But what I do think, I do believe in everything you saying. I believe in everything Babano is saying as well. This is going to be a tough turnaround if they lose this game. Has to be a game 7 for them as far as mentality. And then the person I'm looking at as far as who would I want out the lineup now that Babano says that, I want Kevin Love out the lineup. I know he's been doing really good, but I love Kevin Love off the bench. Having Caleb Martin come in and take that spot, that may be a good enough adjustment there. I know it's a lot of bigs that they like to run with the Celtics there, but that may be having them to make adjustments there. So I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Martin is inserted into the starting lineup. That makes sense there. If I was to just make a prediction there after what my guy was saying, but I agree with everything you're saying as well. Kind of hinting around as well, Skee. I think the Heat they have to be able to hold it down here. I know that it was weird for them to be, led up under these many points, 97 points in the last game after shooting pretty well. It's really about the starters really shot bad for Miami. That's the difference, I think. And as much as we talk about role players playing well at home, and we need these stars to play like stars at home right now, like because they ain't playing. These starters ain't playing like starters at all on the road like they were in that last game. Bench was crazy. They went crazy on the bench, 53 points to 15 as far as what the bench did for Miami compared to what the Boston did. So, they were getting that from Caleb Martin. Like I was saying, if he was in the starting lineup, it may make that big adjustment there. But not that being with that, along with getting Gabe Vincent back, they definitely need Gabe Vincent back. Having a guy like Victor Oladipo throughout the season was helping them having a guy that could attack the rim along with Jimmy Butler to cause possessions that they continue to have constant pressure at the rim. Not having that with Gabe Vincent is going to really hurt them. So if they definitely need him coming in there. I haven't made that official yet, but I'm thinking about taking the money line, ski line with Miami here. I'm thinking the under still's in play though, because I think the defense is going to have to play a lot better on the road for the Celtics. The Celtics played great at the house last game, and they play a little bit better on the road. So, they definitely do know how to travel. But for the most part, I think that in this situation, it's going to be a little bit more easier calls made for Miami, knowing that they're going to try to get to the rim. And then along with the same thing that happened last game, it's going to be a little bit more of an intense game. So I think the under is still in play at 210.5. So I took that as far as the under 210. My boy said Wham Sweat. That's funny. Wham Sweat is kind of player though, bro. I'm gonna drop that little fairy shit, but I'm gonna drop that for some player shit too, because that might be a little cold right there. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, they're giving you all the nicknames in the chat. They said you're looking like an R&B singer up there. So we have a good time in the chat.
I got the waves and shit up in here. Let me zoom in on them then.
Oh, look at that. That is a professionally done cut right there.
I want to say I have to be on the Miami Heat. I feel like I don't have to, because I already, like Akbar says, I already have plus 450 on the Heat 2 in the Eastern Conference. But I feel like this is their game to win. And you're going to give me plus 120 or a little bit more to do it. I'm probably going to get to that window with the Miami Heat on the money line. But I think the better play is on the total. So we touched on this game. Everybody gave a little bit.
Actually, I'll dive into just a couple props before we get to a best bets. And Wham's point's 1,000% correct. I think that's the move. I think that's going to be the move, and that Eric Spoelstra makes. Caleb Martin in the starting 5 tomorrow night. Get Kevin Love out of there, man. Now you say, and you know what you say to Kevin Love? You say, "Thank you for your service. You're a good veteran player. You've had a nice career, champion, and all that. You've done a lot of good things for it." No, he's played well. He's played really well at times in the playoffs here for Miami, but the last game didn't cut it for him. And Caleb Martin's red hot right now for the Miami Heat. I think that's the switch. Love out, Martin in the starting five for Game 6 tomorrow night, which leads me into the prop I like the most. Caleb Martin over 13.5 points is a steal tomorrow night in that game. He has gotten at least 14 points in every game in this series against the Boston Celtics. You look at the numbers he's put up: 15, 25, 18, 16, 14 in the 5 games in this series. And if you bet this prop, all he's got to do is get 14, which has been his floor in terms of the number of points he's gotten in this series. So over 13.5 points for Caleb Martin. I don't think there's a better player prop bet on the board tomorrow night than that.
Love it. Are you muted?
Muted there, Skee.
Oh, my bad there, but good stuff. You Babano and Wham, y'all been holding the player props down in the playoffs, so definitely appreciate you guys doing that. Unless anybody else has any other player props or anything like that, let's go ahead and move on over. Best bet segment. So I'll go to Wham. I don't know which name I like best. I like Wham Sweat. I like what was the other one? Wham Charles.
Yeah, Dwayne Wham. That's crazy. I don't want nothing to do with Dwayne Wade. I want nothing to do with Brooklyn. I want to do nothing to do with them brothers.
I think Butler props are even risky. I lean over points to have a big game, but I'm also worried that the last 2 games he's looked tired. He's looked worn down. They've got more length and size against him one-on-one. They put Rob Williams against him a couple of times. He had trouble shooting over that length, especially the last game. So I don't think it's a slam dunk for Jimmy Butler over points tomorrow. It feels like a Jimmy Butler game, 30 points minimum, huge night with the game they've got to win. They don't want to go back for Game 7, but he does look like he's wearing down a little bit. It does concern me. And again, it's not a young guy anymore.
I think he
like
gets
his
to the line too,
more than I like his points.
Yeah,
I think he gets to the line for sure. Last game he didn't get to the line as much as he did the game prior. So he got 12 the game prior. Last game he got 6 attempts from the free throw line. I think he gets to the line a little bit more in Miami.
I would agree with that as well. I'm gonna go with this one here. Genuine. Genuine. Tell the people how to get paid on this game.
Same old G.
I feel like oh God, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I didn't do some shit like that.
You gotta bring it off some, yeah.
Something like that. Huh? Nah, I'm just fucking around. Okay, so yeah, man, y'all know what it is, man. We gonna go right to Miami. You know what it is. Next game. I don't think it's gonna be no Game 7, bro. Most likely I'm going to be on Miami, but so far I'm on the under, so that's the only way we could go. It's the best bet, 210.5. I think it's going to be another slow pace. They were able to shoot crazy lights out, being number 1 shooter from Derek White, best player from the Heat was Duncan Robinson. Both of those players play a little bit more average in this game and get us underneath this total. So under 210.5 for this next game. No Game 7, in my opinion.
I love the genuine reference. Genuine, man. Go on YouTube, all you old young kids out there. Genuine, man. Type Genuine. What's so different? Same old G. Those 2 Genuine songs, bangers, man. Both of them. Love them.
Yeah, you might go. You better have a female on back too.
I knew that was a slide.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Pony, of course. Yeah.
Shout out to him, boy.
Hey, in them jeans or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
If a battle.
Usher, Montel Short.
Yeah.
Key Sweat, Key Sweat. Yeah. Might get
I'm gonna shoot it to Babano. I don't have no nickname for you. The chat hasn't gave you a nickname today.
Already started all this shit. Open it up.
How we get paid in this game, Babano?
So I lean Miami. I lean under. I'm going to have Miami in my pocket plus 2.5 and bet that tomorrow. But the best bet for me is the prop I mentioned, Caleb Martin over 13.5 points. You can get it at minus 105 right now at DraftKings. Bet Rivers minus 105. Actually, plus money at Pinnacle. Minus 110 at PointsBet, bet 365. So you're pretty much even money with this prop. It's a great prop bet. I think he's going to go into the starting lineup in favor of Kevin Love. over Kevin Love, I should say. And even if he doesn't, and Kevin Love's still starting, he's been able to score 14 plus points in every game in this series so far. And I think he continues that production tomorrow night, especially if Gabe Vincent doesn't play again. So Caleb Martin over 13.5 points for my best bet.
I love it. And I can hear the confidence in your voice. I know that you love it too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go next. And then, Dutch usually shuts it down for us. My best bet for the day, it's going to be a double up with my guy Wham Bam. Hey, they shot, 50% from the field, 40% from three, and they couldn't even make it to 210. What are they going to do better to make it to 210 tomorrow? Everybody's way more tired. The only thing we're going to see, game 6, 7, even game 5, we start to see that defensive intensity get there. I think we see it from both teams tomorrow. I think it's a lower scoring affair. So best number you can get right now, you can get a 211 at Westgate, under 211 between the Celtics and the Heat for myself. And I do want to mention, like I always say, we appreciate you guys in the chat. You guys are hilarious, and also give out winners too. So we absolutely appreciate you. Dutch, I'm gonna kick it to you. What is the freshest look of the day? And help us get out of here.
God damn it, man. The first look of the day might be to tune into the ponies tonight, right? With our boy Razor Sharp Picks. Hit him over the head with some ponies, man. I ain't gonna lie though. Saturday, looking like it might look like the under. I like what y'all talking. I know our boy Skee been killing them unders. I might go to the window with the under, but I'm not gonna tell y'all nothing I didn't bet, so I can't do that. But definitely enjoy vibing out with the fellas, everybody in the chat. Mr. Brosco, I see you, my man. Mo Harris, I dig it, my man. I dig it. Bill McDonald, Jay Cash, G Martinez, all the real ones holding us down. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the motherfucking video. Y'all stay fresh, stay blessed, and let's stay putting these motherfucking bookies to rest. Yeah, man.